the victory bell in front of the Poudre High School, we welcome you to the 6th Annual Impala Excellence in Athletics Banquet. And now your host for the evening, Athletic Director Carrie Christensen.
Alrighty, good evening and welcome. I'm Carrie Christensen, the Athletic Director here at Poudre High School. Thank you for joining us this evening to help us all honor all our athletes at our 6th Annual Impala Excellence in Athletic Banquet. As you can see and know, this year's banquet is just a little bit more different, but we definitely want to recognize all our amazing athletes who have put in their hard work for this school year. This event is designed to honor the many great accomplishments of our students across the course of this year. We have upwards of 600 student athletes participating in 27 different athletic programs. We have a lot to celebrate. We apologize in advance if we miss a recognition, as that is not our intention. Our intention is to honor each and individual athlete. If a mistake has been made, please email me and I'll be more than happy to make that correction. Poudre High School in the state of Colorado have had the privilege of listening to Lexi Drager sing the national anthem at our basketball and volleyball games, and this year at the Pepsi Center for the state championship hockey game. We will miss Lexi for her contributions to our athletic programs, to our student leadership programs, for the caring person that she is, and for her amazing voice. Please help me welcome, for one last time, Lexi Drager to sing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. And oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Lexi. I'm now going to introduce our keynote speaker for tonight, Coach Lindsay. Coach Lindsay grew up in Northern California competing in her lifetime favorite sport, gymnastics. Her best event was the vault, and don't ask her, but yes, she can still do a backflip. She was a proud Enterprise High School Hornet on the volleyball and basketball court, cross-country course, and on the track. She started out as a triple jumper and 400-meter runner, but soon broke into the distance events when her coaches realized she had a knack for enduring pain. Later, she ran cross-country and track for the University of Washington, competed in the 800-meter and the heptathlon while majoring in environmental science and resource management. Lindsay now teaches and coaches at Poudre High School and still competes in fitness competitions whenever she has time. She has been with us for 7 years as a track, cross-country, and strength and conditioning coach, and 5 years as a science and physical education teacher. When she's not in the weight room at PHS, you can find her running around Wellington with her 2 Great Danes and her best friend and supporter of PHS Athletics, Erica. Please help me welcome Coach Lindsay.
Good evening, Poudre High School coaches, athletes, and families. I feel so very blessed to have the opportunity to work with each and every one of you in the weight room, in the classroom, on the field, on the course, wherever you are in this building, but also to share a few of my convictions tonight regarding the value of athletics in all of our lives. It's my hope that my words may honor the courage you have shown and developed as an athlete thus far, and inspire you to carry that courage into every corner of your life going forward. I'm going to begin by telling you a story. 3,000 years ago, a strong, sinewed young man approached a flame that flickered in the Mediterranean wind. The flame had been ignited long ago by the pure light of the sun reflected off a smooth, concave surface of a mirror, and the towering stones of the temple walls protected it from ever being extinguished. The man's skin was bronzed by the sun and shining from the olive oil he had smoothed over his body to strengthen it for the task at hand. He took hold of a torch and reached forward, dipping the end into the flame slowly and purposefully, for he knew the significance of this fire. The air smelled of salt and sun-soaked soil as the man began to run toward what would become a historic destination. He ran along riverbanks, scrambled up rocky hillsides, and paused for a moment at the top of one of them, looking down at the valley below and spreading olive trees, their silvery green leaves fluttering in the breeze that quickly evaporated the sweat from his brow. The thick, gnarled olive trunks were aptly named the trees of life, as they stood the test of time for hundreds of years, representing peace and glory to the people who now gathered beneath their branches. The trees were a fitting testament to the event that was about to take place. The torchbearer made his descent into the valley below and lit a flame in front of the temple of Hera, wife of Zeus, king of Olympia. This flame was a symbol of eternal purity and peace that would inspire kingdoms from all over Mesopotamia and eventually all over the world to stop all acts of war and violence in preparation for and in celebration of what would become known as the Olympic Games. Even at the very beginning, athletics were used to bring people together to make a positive impact on the world. Athletes in ancient Greece were some of the most highly revered individuals in society, but even the winners of the Olympic Games were given nothing but a crown made of olive branches. They didn't get money, they didn't get a free chariot or a temple made in their honor, because the whole point of athletic competition was to celebrate the Greek values of peace, togetherness, struggle, and overcoming obstacles in pursuit of virtue. This tradition is still practiced today. The Olympics are about celebrating and showcasing athleticism, but they're really intended to be a symbol of peace and hope. The Olympic torch is still carried from its origin in Olympia to wherever the Olympics is hosted that year. The torch is usually carried by a runner, but any athlete can apply to carry the flame. Over the last 3,000 years, it has traveled by foot, boat, plane, satellite, laser, and even underwater through the Great Barrier Reef, but no matter the method, it is never extinguished. Athletes, I want you to think of yourselves as torchbearers, honored and trusted with the sacred charge of carrying a flame throughout your world. The flame you carry was ignited inside of you sometime in your adolescence and maybe even as we speak. The flame is courage. Courage is not something that anybody can give you. You aren't born courageous. I can't wrap up a box of courage or blend it up in a protein shake and make you drink it. Your coach can't pat you on the back or say some magical inspiring words to transform you into a courageous person. No amount of money can buy it. There are not a special set of circumstances that can produce it for you. Courage is hard to come by. You have to endure and overcome, endure and overcome, endure and overcome time and time again to acquire it. You have to pass through heat and pressure that most people will never be willing to pass through, and so most people will never be brave. But you are, because you have intentionally chosen to position yourselves in areas of discomfort for the sake of developing courage. And even that alone makes you powerful beyond measure. I remember a moment when courage was sparked in me as a high school athlete. It was during one of the most prestigious races that exists in track and field at the prep level, the Sacramento Meet of Champions. This meet has been hosted for 40 years, and it's open only to the fastest individuals on the West Coast. The track sits at the bottom of a huge stone coliseum reminiscent of those in ancient Olympia. Just to give you an idea of the caliber of competition here, the meet record in the mile race is 4:38 for girls and 4:07 for boys. I was invited to compete my sophomore year in the mile and the 800 meters, both grueling events that would require maximal effort and perfect performances to win in this particular field. The mile was first that day. As I warmed up, I became increasingly doubtful of my ability to perform. I didn't feel good physically or emotionally, and to be honest, I was scared. I was scared of the immense pressure I was under. I was scared of the lineup of elite athletes I was going to have to race against. I was scared of the immense effort I knew it would take to win. And most of all, I was scared that I didn't have the courage to give what it took to do my very best when I felt my very worst. But whether it was my pride, my coach's conviction, or just something in me that refused to be defeated by fear, I towed the line despite my doubts. The leaders exploded off the starting line with the gun, and I fought back negative thoughts the entire time. I even contemplated stepping off the track. But I managed to hang on enough to be in 4th place off the final turn of lap 4, and there were 3 elite athletes ahead of me, with about 120 meters to go. I was within striking distance, and at that point the killer instinct switched on in my highly competitive brain. And despite overwhelming exhaustion, I focused my gaze on the finish line, tucked my chin, clenched my fist, screamed past number 3 and number 2, outkicked the leader, Alex Kosinski, by a nose hair at the finish line. I had won, but I was not elated. I was exhausted, mentally and physically, by the energy it took to summon that kick out of the depth of my gut. And it was raining as I cooled down, which was good because it camouflaged the tears that were streaming down my face at the thought of the fact that I still had another monumental race left for that day, the 800, in a matter of hours. I actually hid underneath the stands, hoping that my coach wouldn't make me run it. The half-mile race is literally gut-wrenching. It is essentially a 2-lap sprint that requires 100% commitment and leaves 0 room for error. The pace is so brutal that tactical moves have to be decisive, confident, and fast. There's no time to plan or contemplate or deliberate. Decisions have to be made on instinct in an instant. One wrong move or a move made at the wrong time is irrecoverable. There's no avoiding physical pain in this race. You will feel like you will die with about 100 meters to go. Exactly the time in the race where you have to press the pace rather than fade if you want to win. I didn't want to race it. I knew how badly it would hurt and how hard I would have to run to even keep pace with the field, let alone win. I didn't feel ready for that monumental effort. But sometimes courage is ignoring your brain and listening to your heart instead. And so I towed the line one more time, accepting the risk. I told myself I would just hammer in a couple of hard laps and not worry about the win. But then I looked down the line at the starting line, and I saw Alex Kosinski, that same girl I had barely just beaten in the mile a couple hours before. She would be coming for me with a vengeance. The gun exploded in my ear for the second time, and I quickly fell back to the middle of the pack, hazily acknowledging the leaders pulling away. Alex Kosinski's long black ponytail whipping back and forth as she raced to the front. I rounded the last turn, and every muscle fiber in my body screamed at my brain to just relent, just cruise in, just finish, let the pain recede, but my heart wouldn't back down. I assessed the risk of the situation in a split second. I was about 80 meters back from the leaders with about 5 athletes to pass before the finish line. A monumental kick at this point would far from guarantee a victory. The pain might be in vain. But champions press the pace here instead of fading back. Courage does its very best when it feels its very worst. And so I pressed. I pushed harder, past 1, 2, 3, 4 of my competitors, and with 5 meters to go, willed my body to do what my brain insisted it couldn't, and finished the line in front of that long black ponytail again. I became friends with Alex Kosinski a few months later when we were both invited to a camp at the Olympic Training Center in Chula Vista, California. We both had successful high school careers and went on to compete for rival Pac-10 schools in college. And the ironic thing is, I was recruited to the University of Washington because of a specific race I ran against Alex. But it wasn't a race that I had won. She defeated me the next year at the very same track where I had beaten her twice in a row the year before. And you know, the University of Washington coaches saw something in me during that defeat that they wanted on their team. And I bet you can guess what that was. It was courage. They saw that I had raced courageously. Courage will serve you in both victory and defeat. And here's the thing you need to know. The value of your athletic experience isn't about what you do in your sport, it's about who you become. I don't race anymore. I have long since passed the pinnacle of my athletic career, but I carry the courage I gained from it into everything I do. It's part of who I am now. I don't balk at obstacles or shrink back when things get hard, because I now know I do have what it takes to give my best when I feel my very worst. I've proven that to myself, and you have proven that to yourself. Every time you've stepped up to the plate at the end of a tied game with the bases loaded and a full count. Every time you've refocused with 20 seconds left on the court, ready to let your past errors go, fight from behind, take the last point, and close out the match. Every time you raced away from an unknown opponent in unknown territory, from an unknown distance ahead on the Nordic Trail. Every time you've been down by 1 point, there's 10 seconds left on the clock and your coach calls a timeout to tell the point guard that you get the last chance shot to win the game. Every time you've stepped out onto the mat to meet an opponent that's more experienced or stronger than you. Every time you ran into the fray on the football field, knowing you would be hit, and then did it again and again and again to protect your team's possession of the ball. Every time you performed a long routine with technical choreography in front of a raucous homecoming crowd. Every time you held on to a 1-goal lead with 10 seconds left in the second half against a better team. Every time you resisted the urge to dive in and stab, you kept your composure and contained the attack, relentlessly holding the line without ever looking at the clock. The time you threw your round-off back handspring back tuck for the first time without a spotter. Every time you resolved to press harder up Centennial, despite the burning in your lungs and your legs. Chose to do the last set of 3-minute sessions with the varsity runners, dug deep within yourself to find one last gear to outkick your competitor to the finish line. Every time you stepped into the loud, chaotic weight room as an inexperienced freshman athlete, surrounded by bigger, stronger, older, more experienced players who already knew what they were doing. Every time you tried out for a sport that you didn't know if you'd be good at or even like. And every time your coach picked you to be the anchor on the 4x4 and you received the baton 5 meters ahead of a defending championship team under the lights with the entire crowd surrounding lane 8. Yeah, you are courageous young men and women. And that courage has been hard won. The terrifying thing about being an athlete is you could pour your blood, your sweat, and your tears into something for your whole entire life and make so many sacrifices in pursuit of your dream only to have it ripped out from underneath you because of something you couldn't even control. Injury, a bad day, sickness, the coronavirus. But even the Olympic Creed says that the most important thing is not to win, but it's to take part. Just as the most important thing in life is not the triumph, but it's the struggle. The essential thing is not to have conquered, but to have fought well. So you may have been robbed of a season or an experience or a moment of glory walking across the stage in front of your friends and family today to receive the awards that you're being celebrated for. And I'm so very sorry for that. I know how badly that bitter disappointment burns. But you have a fire within you that will never go out. You are a torchbearer of courage forever. So don't be surprised when people are drawn to you because there's a light emanating from you that they can't ignore. And where there is light, there is life. And this gift that you have given yourself will now be the gift that you impart to the world. Like the Olympic torch, it will never go out. It may have ignited here on a humble Wellington football field or in the halls of Poudre High School or somewhere out in the hills of a cross-country course, but you will carry it out into your careers, your relationships, into your dreams and your goals and your life's greatest ambitions. You will carry it into battle. You will carry it into sickness and heartaches and trials. You will carry it into boardrooms and classrooms and delivery rooms. You will carry it into the unknown and the unknowable. And you will struggle and you will succeed, but through it all you will fight well. And we are so very proud of you, not for what you have done in your sport, but for who you have become through it. And so to close, let me remind you of these truths. And you know this. So say it with me wherever you are. Say it out loud with pride and with confidence. Ladies and gentlemen, as you go through your day, your week, and your life, know that you are capable and courageous. You will do great things with great confidence, and we are all here to support each other. And you can do all things. Go Poudre!
Coach Gutierrez grew up in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and graduated from Discovery Canyon campus in 2013. She swam competitively since the age of 8, focusing on sprint, freestyle, and butterfly. Coach Gutierrez qualified for 4A state all 4 years of her high school career and continued swimming through her freshman year of college at Adams State University in Alamosa. Unfortunately, her swimming career ended a week before the conference meet due to a career-ending injury. In August of 2014, she transferred to CSU Fort Collins and finished out her bachelor's degree in history with a social studies teaching concentration. After graduation, she was hired as a social studies teacher at Poudre High School and was the assistant boys and girls swim and dive coach for the 2017-2018 season. This is Coach Gutierrez's second year as the head coach for both girls and boys team. She enjoys coaching our Swimpalas. She loves coaching at Poudre because of the kids. She states that we have the hardest working kids and it's an amazing feeling to watch them grow as people and athletes each season. When she is not coaching, she is usually hiking or spending time with her dog. Please help me welcome Coach Stephanie Gutierrez.
To letter in a varsity sport is an award earned for being a qualified member of a varsity team. I have the honor of recognizing all of our varsity letter winners. Athletes, please stand when I recognize your category. Will all first-year letter winners please stand and be recognized? Please be seated. Will all second-year letter winners please stand and be recognized? Please be seated. Will all third-year letter winners please stand and be recognized? Please be seated. Will the following fourth-year letter winners please stand and remain standing, and please hold your applause. For boys tennis, Max Hubbard and Sammy Nape. Volleyball, Lexi Drager. For cross country, John Howdeshell. For softball, Shelby Hawks and Jesse Hinchinski. Unified flag football, James Watcher. Boys soccer, Robert Adrian. Cheer, Emeka Austin. Dance, Lexi de los Santos, Malia Dungan, and Savannah Nelson. For wrestling, Dean Noble. For girls swimming and diving, Chloe Brewer, Tess Hero, Maya Shields, and Lauren Steiner. For unified basketball, Sam Connell-Staw and Travis Ziegler. For girls soccer, Stella Bolander, Lucy Christopher, Cassidy Jackson, and Mackenzie Leinenberger. For boys swimming and diving, Wesley Jones and Michael Cabot. For girls tennis, Lindy Hickman. For track and field, Riley Endries, John Howdeshell, Mark Tasker, and Hannah Newman. And for baseball, Zach Pedofrezzo, Tate Satterfield, and Sergio Tarango. Thank you.
Coach Gollier attended St. Francis High School in Minnesota, where he competed in cross country and wrestling. After high school, he wrestled for the University of Minnesota. He teaches physical education, adventure PE, weight training, and team sports. Coach Gollier has coached strength and conditioning, archery, and badminton. Coach Gollier has been our head wrestling coach since 2000. Coach Gollier was honored at the state wrestling tournament at the Pepsi Center this year for his 20 years of coaching and service to the sport of wrestling. What he likes most about coaching is helping make a positive difference in young people's lives. He enjoys teaching the details and mental part of wrestling. His favorite part is teaching life lessons that are bigger than the sport. Please help me welcome Coach Barrick Gollier.
So, to be selected as all-conference and athlete is either nominated and voted on by other coaches in the league, or is based on the athlete's performance on league meets. Will all honorable mention and second team all-conference athletes stand to be recognized? Yeah, please be seated. Thanks. You might sit down on your couch. I don't know. Will all first team all-conference athletes please stand? Remain standing as your name is read. Please hold your applause till all names have been read. For football, Justin Michael, Brian Crespo, Tristan Burkett, and Tate Satterfield. For boys soccer, Dante Russo DeLay, For softball, Abby Larson and Brooke Bolander. For cross country, John Howdeshell. For wrestling, Dean Noble, Walker Heckendorf, and Gage Howard. Thank you.
Coach Miller has lived in Fort Collins for 15 years with her 2 kids, but her hometown is Pueblo, Colorado. Coach Miller graduated from Pueblo South High School and played softball, basketball, and soccer for 4 years. After high school, she received a scholarship for softball from Colby Community College to play second base and walked on at Colorado State University Pueblo to play right field. She has been coaching softball and basketball for 15 years plus at all levels. 7 of those have been coaching softball here at Poudre High School, with the last 2 years as head coach. She coaches because she loves the game, and she also loves observing the athletes grow and become masters of their craft. Coach Miller has also coached the unified basketball team for the last 6 years. She loves coaching unified basketball because it builds community and character for the students with special needs and for the typical students involved in the program. Ms. Miller is a special education teacher here at Poudre High School, which allows her to not only coach but engage with her students in the classroom, and this allows her to build meaningful relationships across the 2 environments. Please help me welcome Coach Wendy Miller.
To be recognized as an academic All-State, students must letter winner in a CHSA sport and be a junior or senior. Honorable mention All-State is cumulative GPA of 3.3 to 3.59. Would all honorable mention All-State athletes please stand up to be recognized? To be recognized as a first-team academic All-State, students must carry a 3.6 to 4.0 GPA. Would the following athletes please stand as their names are read? Football, Jared Hogan, Jacob Kusabik, Tate Satterfield, McCabe Aberly, Anthony Droman, Sage Harrison, Casey Kraft, Xander Long, Camden Roning, Caleb Schmutzer, and Caden Streeter. For volleyball, Lexi Drager, Thea Herrick, Chloe Knapp, and Anna Melizzo Kroll. For golf, Nate Wood. Boys tennis, Jackson Burrell, Max Hubbard, Samson Nape, Miles Gamble, Jackson Scharf, Dominic Sergi, and Johnny Shefflin. Softball, Shelby Hawks, Riley Santianes, Brooke Bolander, Abby Larson, Isabella Martin, and Lacey Miller. Field hockey, Maya Beck Kerr and Camille Martin. Cross country, Veronica Bassett, Jeff Buxton, Hannah Newman, Mark Tasker, Amber Noble, and Aiden Seidel. Boys soccer, Caleb Arman, Nico Kulishek Lopez, Khalid Shaba, Alex Damata, Jackson Paulson, and Dante Russo-DeLee. Cheerleading, Taylor C. Girls basketball, Sid Starzl, Brooke Bolander, Cece French, Madison Harris, Amber Noble, and Grace Prenny. Boys basketball, Nate Wood. Wrestling, Caleb Arman, Sage Harrison, Casey Kraft, Dylan Whitesell, and Maya Beck Kerr. Girls swimming and diving, Vivian Bennett, Chloe Brewer, Tess Haru, Lauren Steiner, Marissa Duffy, Kristen Hampton, and Quinn Oakletree. Sorry if I butchered that. Nordic ski, Veronica Bassett and Ellen Johansson. Thank you.
Mrs. Neeson has been the athletic administrative assistant for 17 years. She is a Poudre graduate who was a 3-sport athlete competing in softball, basketball, and track and field. She was also a member of the first women's state championship at Poudre High School in 1991 for girls softball. Michelle attended Colorado State University, where she played softball on scholarship, graduating in 1997 with her bachelor's degree. Mrs. Neeson coached softball for Poudre High School for 15 years, 8 years as a varsity head coach and 7 as an assistant. As the head coach, she led the girls varsity team to playoffs 6 times and was named Northern Conference Coach of the Year in 2001. She loves seeing all of Poudre's athletes succeed and enjoys the amazing relationship she has built with the Poudre athletes and their family through the years. She has one son who is a freshman at Poudre High School and is looking forward to her other 2 boys being Impalas as well. Please help me welcome Mrs. Michelle Neeson.
To compete in 3 sports during the school year is an incredible accomplishment. These students are hardworking, passionate about athletics and representing their school, and very organized with their academic work. Will all of our 3 sport athletes please stand and be recognized? This year, we had 2 athletes who participated in 4 sports at Poudre High School. Will Alexandria Kaplan and Jordan Neeson please stand and be recognized? CHAMP is a local organization that recognizes youth athletes for exemplifying outstanding character both on and off the field. The Heart of a Champion Senior Scholarship Reward rewards college-bound high school seniors who have been acknowledged by their coaches, teachers, and peers for demonstrating superior character during their high school athletic careers. Please stand and be recognized. Lauren Steiner and Marcus Randazzo. CHAMP also awards Character Athletes of the Month, known as a CAM Award. The CAM Award winners this year were Dante Davis and Maddie Menard. The Colorado High School Activities Association is dedicated to honoring student athletes who are as dedicated to their school and academics as they are their sport. This year, we have 2 CHSAA active scholars. Will Tate Satterfield and Lindy Hickman please stand? CHSAA sponsors the IBM High School Heroes Weekly during the fall season. This program recognizes students who participate in athletics, music, student council leadership, and much more at their schools. It honors their excellence both on the field, in the classroom, and in the hallways. This year's recipients are Madeline Colbert, Susie Cordova, Dante Davis, Miles Gamble, Kylie Hahn, Shelby Hawks, Ruby Lee, Camille Martin, Jordan Neeson, Grant Noble, Hannah Newman, Khalid Shaba, and Carly Verkateren. Brendan Bullsworth was one of the greatest walk-ons of all time for football. The award honors the player who may or may not be the top athletic performer on the field, but who represents the ideals and values that Brandon Bullsworth had to give, 100% all the time, on and off the field. Standards and morals are set high for this award. This year, we would like to recognize Marcus Randazzo as our Bullsworth Winner Award. Thank you.
Mr. Knight attended El Dorado High School in Albuquerque, New Mexico. In high school, he participated in football and swimming. He attended Eastern New Mexico University in Portales, New Mexico. He has taught Earth System Science, Chemistry, AP and IB Chemistry, TOK, and Geospace Science. At Poudre, he has coached boys swim, girls swim, football, and baseball. He enjoys coaching because of the relationships that he develops with student athletes, coaches, and parents. He enjoys the competition and striving for excellence. Sports are and always have been enjoyable and a large part of his life. Please help me welcome Mr. John Knight.
Thanks. This is quite an honor and a privilege to be able to recognize some of our athletes. And I have the distinct pleasure of looking at honor athletes. Honor athletes are recognized for their work in the classroom, along with their athletic achievements. The following students have maintained at least a 3.2 cumulative GPA while competing in 2 or more sports. And may I say that I think this is one of the cooler things that we do at Poudre High School. The honor athlete, I believe, is one of those really, really difficult things to achieve. And so just want you all to know how important this is. So first of all, would all the first year honor athletes please stand? You may be seated. Would all the second year honor athletes please stand? You can be seated. Would all of the third year honor athletes please stand? Please be seated. Will all of the fourth year honor athletes please stand as your name is read? You'll receive a medallion that will be worn at graduation. And just kind of a little side note for me, this is kind of a cool thing. As I look down this list, there are at least 3 of these athletes whose parents I either taught or coached. And so it's a really, really cool thing to be able to see that being passed on. So first of all, Caleb Arman, Tristan Burkett, Lindy Hickman, John Hadashell, Hannah Newman, Dean Noble, Garrett Rambler, Marcus Randazzo, Tate Satterfield, Khalid Shaba, Simon Spangler Young, Mark Tasker, and Nate Wood.
A native of New York, Mr. Josh Wiseman had a celebrated career as a wrestler in high school and college. Prior to his teaching career, Mr. Wiseman spent 10 years working in the U.S. Merchant Marine Service, licensed by the United States Coast Guard. Competing and coaching in wrestling has propelled Mr. Wiseman across the country and around the world, allowing him to compete in England, Ireland, Scotland, and the Middle East. Mr. Wiseman studied mechanical engineering at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. Go Wolverines! Where he was a member of the 1990 wrestling team that finished 4th in the nation. In 1999, Mr. Wiseman coached the Seaward Seahawks to the Alaska State Championships, winning that school's first ever team title. In 2001, Mr. Wiseman won a silver medal representing the United States at the World Maccabee Games in Tel Aviv, Israel. Sadly, his career was cut short by tragic lack of training and early onset of old age. Through his competitive career, though his competitive career was brief, Mr. Wiseman has had a long coaching career, working in Michigan, New York, and Alaska before settling here in Colorado. Mr. Wiseman has been an assistant coach with the Impalas and Coach Gollier since 2003. When not helping students design and build amazingly cool stuff in the tech ed department, Mr. Wiseman enjoys competing in ultra-distance events and hiking and biking in the beautiful Colorado mountains with his lovely wife, Karen. Please help me welcome Coach Josh Wiseman.
Wow, what a crowd. Thanks for being here, folks. We'd like to take a moment here to recognize the management staff of all of our teams. Team managers do a really important job, often goes unsung, but the 1,000 details they take care of, the logistics, the handling of equipment, allows us coaches to be better coaches. And if we're coaching more, we have more successful and better teams. So thank you, managers. Please take a moment and stand. Let's have a warm round of applause for all of our managers. Thank you. Our athletic trainers often work behind the scenes, are not in the spotlight, don't get enough gold medals or awards, and they're often double or triple booked for several events at the same time. So at this moment, we want to recognize the important work that all of our athletic trainers do. Please stand and be recognized. And now we'd like to recognize all of our athletes who are continuing their athletic career beyond high school. Being a high school athlete takes dedication, hard work, and sacrifice. competing at college is not just the next level, it's a whole nother level. At this moment, we'd like to recognize all of our athletes that are continuing their careers in college. Please stand and be recognized. And I've got to say that I am more proud of this class of 2020 than probably any group of teenagers I've ever met. They say the measure of a person's character is how you stand up to adversity. We are living in some pretty strange days. Who is better prepared to handle this tough times than the athletes of Poudre High School? We spent our whole life training for sacrifice and suffer. If this quarantine lasts 6 weeks or 6 months, we got this, Poudre. Eat your vegetables.
Oh, thank you, Coach Wiseman. Now to follow that. Coach Yunker is currently an assistant football coach. He has been coaching for 43 years, 40 at Poudre High School, 22 as the head football coach. He has also coached Poudre track and field, baseball, and girls basketball. Coach Yunker is a graduate of Fort Collins High School, CSU Pueblo, and Colorado State University. He taught history for 25 years before becoming assistant principal and athletic director at Poudre. He also enjoyed multiple sports growing up and was a 3-sport athlete in high school before going on to play college football. What he enjoys about coaching are the relationships with the athletes and helping them achieve their goals. Please help me welcome Coach Rich Yonker.
Thank you, Carrie, and thank you, Coach Wiseman. I really would just like to add my comment on that. I believe that this generation will be recognized as one of the greatest generations of all history throughout the United States. My father was a child of the Depression and also World War II and went through that, and his generation was deemed the greatest generation. But I believe this generation will be recognized right along with them. So congratulations to all the athletes, for all the students, and the sacrifices in overcoming this adversity that we're facing right now. For our teams that are comprised of individual competitions, the following athletes were regional champions of either their position or weight class. Athletes, please stand and remain standing until all names have been called. Please hold your applause. For cross country, John Hotteshell. For wrestling, Walter Heckendorf. The Steve Bradley Team First Award was established to honor a staff member who supports PHS Athletics. Many people know that Steve has always coached at Poudre, but what many people don't know are the countless jobs that he has covered to ensure that our athletes have a quality experience. Running the timing system at our track meets, announcing at basketball games, organizing the singing of the national anthem, and the list goes on. His passion for athletes and athletics allowed him to mentor students beyond the classroom. He encouraged kids to have integrity and model the behavior that makes us proud to be an Impala. This year's recipient is held in high regard in our coaching faculty, our teaching faculty, and among the student athletes. She has been a part of Poudre High School for 27 years. She is an integral part of our athletic program and coaching, announcing, and helping in any way she can to make Poudre High School better. This year's recipient of the Steve Bradley Team First Award is Coach Christy Bibby. One of the all-time great coaches and teachers at Poudre High School. I am honored to recognize this evening all the athletes who have competed at the state level. Qualifying and competing at the state level is no small task. I am honored to recognize this evening all the athletes that have, will the student athletes who competed at state please stand and be recognized. The following athletes competed and placed at the state level. Please help me recognize the following athletes as I read their names and their sport, please stand and be recognized. For wrestling, placing second at state at 138 pounds, Dean Noble. Placing fourth at state at 106 pounds, Tony Garcia Lopez. Placing fourth at state at 145 pounds, Walter Heckendorf. And placing fourth at state at 189 pounds, Sage Harrison. For girls wrestling at the state, placing fourth at state at 118 pounds, Liz Esparza. Placing fifth at state at 127 pounds, Maya Beck Kayer. Placing fifth at state at 147 pounds, Isabel Newman. For boys tennis, placing fifth at number 1 singles, Sam Knapp. Our Poudre School District hockey team had an incredible season, finishing second in state, just falling short of the state title in 5 overtimes. Poudre High School members on the hockey team were Garrett Diltz, Tristan Olick, and Ryan Riedlinger. Congratulations to all.
The Character Athlete Scholarship is awarded to a senior that has exhibited daily excellence through character and education-based activities while being a positive ambassador for Poudre High School, their team, and their community. This year's Character Athlete Scholarship goes to Dean Noble. Dean will be receiving a $500 scholarship to be used towards college. The Harry Troxel Award goes to a good football player who made a major contribution to the team in terms of attitude, leadership, sportsmanship, and the use of their ability. They are a good citizen who represented the school and community during their years at Poudre High School. This student has been involved in other activities both at Poudre High School and the Fort Collins community. This student athlete has made a 3.4 or higher grade cumulative GPA. This year's winner is Tristan Burkett. Tristan will receive an award and his name will be put on the plaque in the athletic hallway to be seen forever. The Eleanor Troxel Award goes to a good athlete who made a major contribution to the team in terms of attitude, leadership, sportsmanship, and the use of their ability. They are a good citizen who represented the school and community during their years at Poudre High School. This student has been involved in other activities both at Poudre High School and the Fort Collins community. This student athlete has maintained a 3.4 or higher cumulative GPA. This year's winner is Veronica Bassett. Veronica will also receive an award and her name will be put up on a plaque in the athletic hallway. Our last 2 awards are our Male and Female Athlete of the Year. Our Female Male Athlete of the Year is reserved for seniors and is calculated based on their athletic and academic achievements across all 4 years at Poudre High School. Please enjoy the video for the Female Athlete of the Year.
I've been up, I've been down. chains and run with the giants. Like smoke, I'm rising. I'm done with the noise, life is a break, but I'll use my voice, my turn to sing. You know that I have been waiting for this. I have been fighting for this. Dream in my soul, and I won't let it go. You know that you try to keep me down, but I just get higher. You try to keep me down, but I just get higher. You try to keep me down, but I just get higher. There's a dream in my soul, and I won't let it go. You know that. You try to keep me down, but I just get higher. You try to keep me down, but I just get higher. You try to keep me down, but I just get higher.
Please help me recognize this year's 2019 Female Athlete of the Year, Riley Andrees. Now we will watch the video for the Male Athlete of the Year.
Good evening, my people up in the chandeliers. The wine and dining, the menu is blood, sweat, and tears. Everybody ready, raining down confetti. Champions are born right now. Ain't about the glamour, click goes the hammer. Run when you hear that sound. Heroes never die, gonna make it to the finish line. We know we survive, even if we crawl to the finish line. I don't believe it, underdog dreaming, don't need no tears, world's gonna say it. Heroes never die, gonna make it to the finish line. Their dreams just keep dripping out of their golden cups. I'm starving, leftovers ain't enough. Ain't about the royals, they do nothing for you. All you got is you right now. Who is gonna falter? Who is gonna conquer? Better never count me out. Heroes never die, gonna make it to the finish line. We know we survive, even if we crawl to the finish line. I don't believe it, underdog dreaming, don't need no tears, world's gonna say it. Heroes never die, gonna make it to the finish line. Gotta make it to the finish line every day, every day. Gotta make it to the finish line. Gotta make it to the finish line every day, every day. Gotta make it to the finish line. Heroes never die. Gotta make it to the finish line. We know we survive, even if we crawl to the finish line. I'm underdog dreaming, don't need no tears, world's gonna say it. finish line. My people up in the chandeliers, the wine and dining, the menu is blood, sweat, and tears. Everybody ready, raining down confetti, champions are born right now. Hear about the glamour, click goes the hammer, run when you hear that sound. Heroes never die, gonna make it to the finish line. We know we survive, even if we crawl to the finish line. I will believe it, underdog dreaming, don't need your tears, world's gonna see it. Heroes never die, gonna make it to the finish line.
Please help me recognize this year's 2019 Male Athlete of the Year, John Haudeshell. To summarize, we have had over 600 students participating in athletics this year. We had 132 student athletes who qualified for honor athletes, 13 of whom are 4-year honor athletes whose names will be added to the Honor Athletes Board in the gym forever. We had 11 first-team all-conference players. We had 64 first-team academic all-state athletes. We had 2 Heart of a Champion scholarship winners. We had 2 individual regional champions in wrestling and cross country. We had over 100 athletes compete at the state level and 8 individual state placers. Our PSD hockey team finished second in the state, just missing out on a state championship in the 5th overtime. Athletes, please stand and be recognized one more time for all of your hard work and dedication this year. This year, PHS was fortunate to have just over 100 coaches to support 27 different athletic programs and just over 600 student athletes. Thank you, coaches, for teaching lessons and skills that are extended beyond what is learned in the classroom. Thank you for what you do for our kids and our community. Your selfless actions, tireless evenings and weekends, and devotion to our students does not go unnoticed. Will the coaches please stand and be recognized? We all know the hard work that parents and families do to allow their students to participate in athletics. From the rides to and from practices, picking up their students when they arrive back at school after away games, making sure they have enough to eat, and that they stay on top of their schoolwork. We truly appreciate all the hard work that goes into being a parent of a student athlete. Parents, will you please stand, and students, please help us honor your parents and loved ones. I would personally like to thank Mrs. Neeson for her help to make the banquet possible, as well as many of the behind-the-scenes things that need to take place to make our athletic department run smoothly. Mrs. Neeson has coordinated 27 different athletic schedules, transportation for away games, navigated weather delays and cancellations, printed and coordinated all student athletes awards and recognitions, all while being the go-to for the quick athletic-related questions. Parents, coaches, and athletes, please join me in honoring Mrs. Neeson. As we all know, being an athlete puts both emotional and physical strain on the body. We are so fortunate to have individuals who help support injury prevention and injury rehabilitation. Please help me recognize Pooters athletic trainer Victoria Sesher, who is on call and readily available for all our athletes throughout our practices and competitions all year long. I would like to thank Mr. Matt Benson, who was happy to record and edit this video set so that we are all able to provide you with the virtual celebration for our amazing athletes. Thank you, Mr. Benson. Freshman honor athletes and three-sport athletes, please pick up your patches on May 27th or 28th when you come in to turn in your laptops. Sophomores, juniors, and seniors, please pick up your awards on your assigned days when you guys come in to hand in your laptops as well. We will have tables set up outside of the athletic locker rooms for you to do this. Including, I would like to especially recognize our spring sports athletes who are able to participate in their season this year. I can only imagine how devastating this was for you, knowing the hard work that you have put in the off season and how forward you were looking to your season this year. You have handled yourself and the situation with nothing but class and grace and Pooter pride. To our senior spring sports athletes and parents, my heart was breaking for you daily, knowing that you were missing your senior year, not only in athletics, but in school in general. Excuse me. I could not be more proud of you as athletes and as people for how you have handled this disappointment of your last quarter of your senior year. For parents, I know this may have been even harder on you to watch your child go through this than it was on them. I am sincerely sorry for that. But we have great parents here at Pooter. We have great athletes here at Pooter. And again, you guys are going to do great things. We stated in the message from Coach Lindsay, you have a fire within you that will never go out. You are a torchbearer of courage forever. So don't be surprised when people are drawn to you, because there is a light emanating from you that beckons them. And where there is light, there is life. And this gift that you have given yourself will now be the gift that you impart to the world. I am who I am because of who we are. We are Pooter. Thank you again for being a part of Pooter Athletics for the 2019-20 school year. Good luck to our graduating seniors, and we look forward to seeing everybody next year. Go Pooter!